All right. I apologize for being a minute late there. For some reason, I just had this sneezing fit. I'm not allergic to this or anything around me, just one of those things. Hopefully, things are going well for you today. Welcome. Today is Thursday, day 4 of week 2, talking about trading psychology. How are my guys? It's always good to see some faces. We don't get to see faces that much here working from home. How are you guys doing?
Doing good today. How you doing, Jody?
Feeling great. We got a good crowd in here again. Looking forward to it.
Good. I hope, as always, it's entertaining and helpful for traders. Trading psychology is a subject that kind of came of its own in the early 90s. I don't think too many people were concerned about trading psychology before then, but it certainly has blossomed, and it certainly is important to understand your psychology and your trading psychology in order to be consistent and profitable. So
Definitely. And
anything else we got, guys?
yeah, one quick note before we start. One of us, okay, I can't hear it now, but I heard something in the background. It sounded like a TV or a radio.
Not here.
Better now?
Oh, yeah, I don't hear it anymore. That was weird. Besides that, if you have questions, throw them in the Q&A. John and I will try and get to them in real time, but there's only 2 of us, so we'll try and answer as many as possible. So take it away, Hogue.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. Gotta do the old introduction. My name is John. I'm the middle-aged performance coach here at Topstep. I've got 39 years in February in the futures industry. Hard to believe. It seems I should be on an island somewhere, but here we are. I traded on the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and other exchanges for over 20 years. My dad was on the floor of the Board of Trade 40 years. Brother was on the floor for a while. I guess it's in my blood. But as electronic trading started to take over, I stepped out of the pit for the last time in 2009, started working with Topstep and working with traders in 2011. It's been a pleasure having the opportunity to talk to thousands of traders from all over the world and hopefully improve their performance. And that's what the whole goal of this is. I just don't like that senior word. I haven't gotten, well, maybe I did start getting my mailers from the AARP, but I'm going to be fighting it all the way. It's always good to see everybody. Thanks for saying hello. I love to see where you're coming from and where you are. We got Germany, we got California. I saw Delray Beach. We got San Diego. We got Milwaukee. We got all kinds of places here. We've had a lot of Canada, Toronto, Pennsylvania, Germany. We've had South Africa. I see Austria. I see. It's great to see everybody, and we are going to get started now. Trading psychology. There is no one size fits all solution when it comes to trading, investing, psychology, the trading psychology. It is a very broad subject, and it is something that traders, professional traders and retail traders alike have, I think, a tremendous respect and a curiosity about. But even professional traders who have an understanding of how important the psychology of trading is admit to not giving it as much energy as they probably should. It's understandable. There's so much to learn about markets, and there's always so much to learn about ourselves. It seems like a very daunting task to try and get a good understanding of your trading psychology, and it seems like something that we're always going to be working on. Just like trading, things change. Things in the markets change, of course, and that's going to change our response to those things. Understanding your trading trading psychology is, of course, extremely important. But again, it's a lifelong effort to try and maintain the good trading psychological things and minimize the barriers that our psychology creates for us. What is trading psychology? Trading psychology refers to the emotion and mental state that help dictate success or failure in trading securities, futures, forex. Anytime we have risk on, that's when our psychology and our emotions really fire up, and we really have to be paying attention to that if we're going to be planning on doing this for any amount of time. Trading psychology represents various aspects of an individual's character and behaviors that influence their trading actions. Trading psychology can be as important as other attributes such as knowledge, experience, and skill in determining trading success. So there it says right there that it is equally as important. Some people will actually say more than the importance of even market knowledge is understanding our behaviors. And our behaviors go from, if you've ever talked to a psychologist or a therapist or a trading psychologist, or sometimes even like a school counselor, the things that create our behaviors and our motivations sometimes go back to places in our history that we can't even remember, which makes it so difficult for us to I think dig into those things on our own. We can do it. It just takes a lot of energy, and it always takes a lot of time. So I am not a psychologist. I would never hold myself out to be something that I'm not. I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. I'm going to admit to you if there's something that I don't know. But I have had the benefit of working with many trading psychologists and psychologists throughout my life and throughout my trading career. It is through that experience that I learned how important the self-understanding is to profitable trading. The field of psychology is vast, and this is just going to scratch the surface and maybe try and lead you in the right direction. The last thing I would ever do is to do anything to damage your personality, your performance, and your ability to trade successfully. It is through my experience and through my notes and through reading and through working, even with Dr. Menaker in market therapy, that I've put together this, somewhat, hopefully kind of complete yet brief view of what trading psychology is, and even some things to think about as a trader and as a human being, and as the markets affect your behavior. We've talked a lot about these things in the past couple of days, just to kind of give some definition to some of the things that we're going to be discussing today. The ego is a person's self-esteem or self-importance. I think self-importance is more important. We talked about, if you have an ego and you try and enforce that ego into the marketplace, the market is going to let you know really who the boss is. And then there's, of course, always fear like you're being threatened by something dangerous, or the fear that you're going to miss out on something good. The fear that you're being threatened by something dangerous is a very base human fear. It brings up hormones in the brain. It brings them the amygdala, which is the lizard brain, into effect, and it causes us to respond to things without really thinking them through. When you are in fear of something, like Jack was saying the other day, Is there a lion behind that bush or isn't there? And in certain situations in the real world, that might be something that would be helpful to protect you from harm. In the trading environment, you're not going to get eaten by a lion. However, there is still that same fear of damage financially. Greed is, of course, an uncontrolled longing for acquisition, for material or status gain. We all have the green-eyed monster inside of us that is greed to one degree or another, and it causes us to make certain decisions based on the things that we know about ourselves, or at least the things that we believe about ourselves. Now, anger is, of course, a strong feeling of annoyance, discomfort, or hostility. Anger, we talked about venom yesterday. Anger is, like Mark Twain says, anger is an acid that does more damage to the vessel in which it is stored than to whatever it is poured upon. Anger for anything else is anger for ourselves. We really have to try and let go of anger, all part of our trading psychology. Anxiety, who isn't anxious when they are putting themselves at risk or putting their money at risk? And like Dr. Menaker says, when we're trading the markets, we're really trading an inner market. We're trading ourselves. It's natural to be nervous and uneasy when the ambiguous outcomes are as prevalent as they are in futures, in forex trading, and investing in anything where we are putting ourselves at risk. Emotions, natural and instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances. We all know that the emotions we can feel in trading go from elation to misery, if you will. There are those that say you should control your emotions when you're trading, and in a perfect world, that sounds like a great idea. To try and keep yourself in the middle, centered, without emotion would be, I think we'd be missing part of the experience and part of the information that we might find useful for us when we are actively trading. Loss aversion. Placing a greater importance on losing over the pleasure of gains. Now, how can we not do this when pretty much everybody tells us, even in our own experience? Excuse me, I don't know what's going on. I got a little, just getting over a cold, and I feel like I'm getting the cold back. Anyways, when we have a losing trade of $100 and we have a winning trade of $200, the amount of pleasure that we derive from the winning trade is probably about half of the discomfort that is created by the losing trade. It just seems to be a matter of fact. So we have to begin to let go of the pain we feel from losses. There's different ways for us to maybe even trick our mind into believing that there's something that they aren't. I stood next to a guy that every time he had a loss, he would say, "Okay, good." After a while of hearing him say, "Oh, okay, good," after losing trades, I asked him why he did that. And this was his way of taking a loss and turning it into something that he can use. It was his idea of, instead of looking at it as a loss or him being wrong or taking a bite out of his ego or his self-esteem with every loss, he viewed it as paying the market for information. So any way that you can alleviate some of the pain of those losses, it's going to help. One of the biggest things I think that creates the inability for traders to remain profitable is their loss aversion. Sometimes we are are so loss averse, we put our stops way too tight, and we can die by 1,000 cuts. Or stops should be based according to market information. See what we've got next here. So here's a little story about thinking about how our brains are wired, especially when we first start getting into trading, and how we got to change those brains a little bit if we're going to be able to make money at this. Some make a lot of money at it, some make just a way to supplement their income. It's all degrees of success, and there are many degrees of success. Now, if you are walking down the sidewalk and you're walking along and you see a $5 bill on the sidewalk, okay, you're gonna just pick that $5 bill up. You're probably gonna look around to see if there's anybody around who might have lost it. If you're an honest person, you may just put your foot on it and look around to make sure nobody's going to see you pick it up. Either way, it's okay. So you're always going to pick up that $5 bill. When we talked about how the brain is wired in recent sessions of this, most of the time when we have a loss or we have a trade that is in losing territory, we tend to default to waiting or hoping or praying or holding our breath or standing on our heads or banging on the desk, whatever we think is going to make that market come back to us. And most of the time we're going to find out it's not going to. It's going to take us to a point of pain where we're going to have to get out. Hopefully it's not your entire account. You got to get to that point of pain before you get to that. So if I were to be standing here and I was to tell you that it's going to cost you $10, no, let's make it $20. It's going to cost you $20 to continue to walk down this sidewalk. Okay, there's going to be a $5 bill down there, 100% sure. You're always going to be able to cut your losses by 25% by picking up that $5 bill. But if you step over that $5 bill, half the time, there's going to be a 50 sitting there waiting for you further down the sidewalk. Half the time. What are you going to do? So instead of being so risk averse or quick to take the profits, you're going to be looking for those bigger profits. You know you're going to lose the 20. You're paying me that. You can either cut the risk and then not have the ability to pick up the $50 bill down the road, or if you go there half the time, there's going to be that 50 sitting there. I would go past me 100 times a day, because that type of reward over risk is going to keep me making money day over day. Even if I lose the 20, half the time I'm going to pick up a 50. That's the brain wiring that we need to change as traders, as beginning traders. We have to keep that change in our brain from the beginning through the end. We got to keep working on it. The professional traders don't let losing trades get away from them. They know where they're wrong and they get out. They also know when they've got something good on, and they try and maximize those profits. It's all in the psychology of the reward over risk ratio. We all think we know that we need to have bigger winners than losses, but are we able to do so? And if not, why? Okay. Now, a lot of these next subjects come from personal experience, things that I worked through with a trading psychologist. Now, I'm not going to be able to work through everybody with it, but I'm sharing some personal experience here. And think about your experience with regard to these subjects. Your relationship with money. Believe it or not, you have a relationship with money. That relationship, some people think that money is dirty. Some people think that money, anybody that has money cheated to get it. Some people believe that in order to make money, you've got to trade in your time for a handful of dimes. Some people think you've got to dig a ditch in order to make money. Your relationship with money is going to be directly related to your ability to profit in trading. Now, my dad was a trader. My dad was a trader. When I first stepped into the trading pit, I had worked for others. I had never run my own business. I had never been in a position where I could not make money, but I could work all day long and never make a dime. This was unusual for me. I found that I had a salary or an hourly relationship with money. If there was nobody paying me to do anything, what the heck was I doing? So you could take that to think about it and remember that if you're going to be a successful trader, if you're going to be a trader that's going to be doing this for a while, you've got to treat it like it's your business. We're going to be talking about the business plan in week 4, day 3. We're also going to be talking the next day about the trading plan, preparation for trading. Your relationship with money is directly related to how much you're going to pay yourself, which leads us to the next one. How much do you value yourself? Self-esteem is going to be a direct relation to how much you pay yourself. My first day on the trading floor, one of the old guys came up to me and said, "Hey, great to see that you're getting in the game. Now remember, you can make whatever you think you're worth." So, well, I think I'm worth a lot. But that self-esteem, it was always something that was nagging at me. Now, it might be hard to believe this, but I've never been a pick 'em up easy kind of guy. Was never, smooth with the girls. Always had that shadow behind me thinking you're not good enough, smart enough, whatever it is. Always a little bit heavy. When I started as a prop trader, I was working with 2 trading psychologists, and this was one of the things that we were beginning to recognize as one of the barriers to me making money. Did not have a very high value of myself. So in order to do that, I was told that I had to go to the gym across the street from the Merc 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. I had to get myself in good shape. I had to, get stronger. I had to get healthier. And on top of that, once or twice a month, I had to go someplace and give my time to somebody else, give my time to a soup kitchen or a food depository, or go buy some sandwiches and hand it out to some of the homeless guys that we see every day. Go do something nice for somebody else. You're really going to feel good about yourself in doing so. So, as I did that, I became more confident in myself. I don't think that I was ever arrogant or egoist, whatever it is. But I allowed myself to make more money because I was putting a higher value on myself. How much do you value the work that you do? And this is another issue that I had the opportunity to kind of work through. Kind of in about the same time we were working through the value of yourself. When you're a trader, you're basically working for yourself. You're trying to earn yourself money. And it's hard work. It really is hard work in order to become consistent and profitable at this. If you don't value that, okay, no matter how much you value yourself, if you don't value the work that you do, it's another barrier to continuing to be successful and building on that success. one of the ways that I was able to kind of work through this was to remember that as a speculator or a market maker or whatever I was at the time, I was providing a service to the marketplace. When we think about futures, it's all about risk transfer. Somebody that owns a bunch of something is transferring that risk onto somebody else. The fact that I'm there, letting somebody transfer that risk to me, even if it may be for a short period of time, means I'm providing a service to the marketplace. If you feel that and believe that, you can increase the value of the work that you do in doing this. Even if I'm a one lot trader, the fact that I'm trading with somebody else, maybe letting them out of a loss or getting them out of a winning trade. If I wasn't there, somebody else would be there. But the more people that are there, the bigger the ease of risk transfer is going to be, and you are part of that process of allowing others to transfer risk. That risk transfer, of course, allows us the opportunity to profit. Big one. And I think this is one of the biggest ones for a lot of the folks that are here at Topstep. And I think a lot more people could be more successful if they would just accept change. We all have things that change in our lives. We all have things that change for the better, we hope. We've all had things that have, I'm sure, happened that have made changes for the worse. People fear change. A lot of people will do whatever it takes just to remain where they are. Just to remain where they are. Why are you here then, if that is the case? You may believe that you are here trading futures or Forex or whatever, and here at Topstep trying to improve your performance because you are seeking change. Maybe it's change in job. Maybe it's a change in income. Maybe it's, we're all looking for an increase in income for sure. But are you ready for that change? Change to the downside, change to the worse is scary, but so is change for the better. Think about, you have a really successful year. Think in the back of your head, if you were to have a really successful year, what if the next year wasn't as good? What if the next year you were lost? What if you only had one good year? How could you handle that? How could you handle the change if you became wildly successful and people started treating you differently? Anybody that's treating you differently because of that probably wasn't a friend to begin with. But all these things go in the back of our mind about, if I become successful at this, and we all want to be successful at this. That's why we're here. Think about the reasons why that fear of change may keep you from realizing the change that you want. When it comes to trading futures, the thing that sticks out the most to me is the fact that everything is about change. Prices change constantly. Markets change. Markets change people. People change markets. Strategies are going to change. Ideas are going to change. Everything changes in futures trading. So I think it's one of the reasons why mathematicians and engineers have a hard time, because there is no right answer for this. You have, a good day, you have a bad day, you have a good day, you have a bad day. Just make sure that those winning trades are greater than those losing trades, and be right about half the time, and you can succeed at this if you prepare yourself and want the change. Start a mantra. Say, I want the change that trading can bring to me. I want it in my toes, and I want it all the way to the ends of my hair. I want that change. And when you start to believe it, you can start to create it. Emotion. You can choose to use it to your advantage, or you can choose to be run by it. By emotion, we're talking about anger, ego, fear, all of those things that we talk about all the time that are detrimental to future success. If you can learn how to use them to your advantage, not be run by them, you're going to be better than 90% of your, still looking for the right word for this, direct competitors to the other, smaller retail traders out there that we know most of them are going to lose because they are run by their fear and they are run by their emotion. If you can learn to take advantage of your fear and emotion by understanding a lot of the same traders in your time frame, in your pocketbook, your risk aversion, risk tolerance, are feeling the same way, and knowing that 90% of them are going to go the wrong way, you can learn to take advantage of that and go the other way. We don't want to be lemmings when it comes to trading. It's the one that stands alone that wins. My dad used to say, the markets always look the best at the top and the worst at the bottom. It's the guy that can stand there while everybody is selling that can buy. And when everybody's already short and he's long, he's the one that's going to benefit from it. We used to be able to see that emotion in the faces of our competitors in the trading pit. You got a whole pit full of people that are too short. When they unravel, prices going higher. If you can recognize that in your fear or in the fear of your competitors, you can take advantage of it. Fear of change. We kind of talked about self-worth, fear of change. We talked about that. How much is the work I'm really doing really worth? Fear of missing out. What about keeping profits? This last one, keeping profits, has also been a barrier to me. It all comes back to believing that you've earned the money that you've made. The period of time, when I'm making a lot of money in the trading pit, and anywhere you kind of near the end of the month, there was always that bad day that I would give a big percentage of that entire month back. Again, the money's in the account. Do I believe I have earned it? Do I believe I've earned it? How much is the work that I'm doing really worth? How much is it worth? Fear of success, needing instant gratification, addiction, irritability, fear of success. Do people really fear success? Do you? What if you become, again, successful? Can you keep it up? Will there be people chasing you? Will there be some sort of competition you can't finish? If you need instant gratification, boy, that was a big thing in the pit. Scalpers were 2 bid at 3. You get hit on both at the same time. You made a tick, instant gratification. We don't really have the ability to have that kind of instant gratification, but you can make a lot of money in a short period of time here. Hopefully not through luck, through skill. There are a lot of folks that are addicted to do trading, much the same way they're addicted to alcohol or drugs or gambling. It is flashy. It is seductive, and the money comes fast. It also leaves fast. We can be addicted to the money, and we can also be very irritable when we lose that money. So there's a whole list of things here, some psychological trading issues and some of their possible causes. Now, these are by no means not all of the psychological trading issues, nor is that the only possible causes, but I want to give you the opportunity to just think about some of these things and see if you hear or feel yourself in some of the things that we're going to be talking about. Fear of being stopped out or fear of taking a loss. Usually this reason of that fear is the trader feels failure, feels like he or she can't take another loss, or The ego is at stake. Imagine when you're standing in a trading pit with 500 people in it, and you stand there and you take a couple of losses, and you look around and it seems like all the eyeballs are looking right at you. The people in the pit got to see all of this. It was embarrassing sometimes. They all took losses too. To be honest with you, most of them had no idea what you were doing. They're too involved in what you're doing. Just knowing that they're there, able to see, made it that much worse. What about getting out of trades too early? Trade management is a very difficult thing. I think a lot of the time, if we're getting out of trades too early, it's relieving anxiety by closing the position, fear of the position reversing, and then feeling let down, and back to that feeling of instant gratification. We've all had all of those things happen. We've gotten out of positions too early that would have reached a nice, tasty profit target. We've all gotten out for fear of the position, gotten out early for fear of the position turning around and stopping you out, because it's happened to all of us. Adding to a losing position or doubling down. You don't want to admit that you're wrong. What you're doing is you're trying to cost average. You're trying to lower your average entry price. So if the price does get there, you can get out of it. But most of the time, if price does get there, you're thinking, maybe this is going to be good after all. I'll hold on to this. And you end up cost averaging until you have to get out. One of the dad wisdoms, get out when you can, not when you have to. Wishing and hoping, these are not strategies. If you find yourself wishing and hoping, there's probably a lack of your ability or want to take responsibility for the trade. Wishing and hoping aren't really a realistic response to the marketplace. It's not reality. If you're trading compulsively, compulsion, addiction, you are drawn to the excitement of the game. Addiction and gambling issues may be present. You just need to feel you're part of the game. Well, I known a lot of people that way. If I'm not in the market, I can't make any money. Well, you can't lose any either. Anger after a losing trade. Who doesn't get angry after a losing trade? We don't have to get angry after a losing trade. Sometimes we actually might start to feel like we're being victimized by the markets. Maybe we've got unrealistic expectations. Maybe we're putting all our eggs in one basket. Maybe that losing trade was everything to us, which shouldn't be everything to us. It's just one trade. Maybe we're tying our self-worth to that one trade. Maybe we feel like we need approval from the markets and we're not getting it. Everybody loves a winning trade. Excessive joy after a winning trade. Again, we may be attaching our self-worth to the marketplace and feeling unrealistically in control of the markets. When you're in the flow state and pretty much everything you touch is making money, it doesn't happen that often. Enjoy it, but don't revel in it, because it's not going to last. Maybe you're limiting profits. Maybe you don't deserve to be successful. Do you deserve to be successful? Everybody deserves to be successful. Maybe you don't think you deserve the money or profits. When you're limiting profits, sometimes it's a symptom of poor self-esteem. It's easy to label the difficulty of managing trades to some of these psychological issues, or is it the psychological issues that are creating your difficulty in managing trades. Again, we don't know the outcome of anything. We've all had trades go our way, come back and stop us out. We've all gotten out of trades that could have ended up being worth much more. The goal of understanding your trading psychology is to learn from those experiences and have them happen less and less, but there is no perfection in trading. Maybe you start to overthink the trade. A good friend of mine told me a long time ago, you know what, Hoagie? We don't get any smarter once we put the trade on. So if you're overthinking the trade, second guessing the trade, fear of loss or being wrong, wanting a sure thing where sure things do not exist. We all have to understand that loss is a part of trading, and the outcome of any trade is unknown. Sometimes it's just not accepting that there is risk in trading if we're overthinking the trades. Maybe we're trading big size. Over trading to me usually is a sign of overconfidence. If I over leverage, I'm probably thinking that there's no way that this trade can fail, and it can. Realize the risk. Every group coaching, we go through the CFTC disclaimer only to remind everybody, including myself, of the risks in trading. Maybe you're afraid to trade. Maybe you don't even have a trading system in place. Being afraid to trade is, I have found it personally and with many of the other people that I work with, the inability to understand that we control our risk. We don't have to risk any more than we feel as though we have to. Of course, risk is technical. It shouldn't be, financially driven or some sort of static stop number. But every time you start to feel like you're afraid to trade, remember, you choose the risk. If you're irritable after a trading day, that's happened to me. I'm sure it happens to all of us. We're just too deep into the emotion, the anger, the fear, the greed. Trading is extremely important because it's the money. It's the money that's important, which makes trading important, which makes everything we do almost like a hair trigger. If we were to, some people yell at me for saying this, but if we were to be a little bit more carefree with our trading, not care less, if we were a little bit easier on being fearful of the risk, it would be much easier for us to probably succeed at this. Think about it. Have you ever been irritable after a day trading on a simulator? There's no risk involved. The decision-making process is much easier. The thing that makes us irritable is we can't do it the same way when we're at risk, when we're in a trading combine, when we're risking our own money. It becomes too serious, which it should be. But at the same time, if we were able to, let's say, not have to worry about making money, then making money would be much easier. Okay, now these are by no means near close to any of all the psychological issues. I just try and use my experience and get some juices flowing and get some thoughts going in your minds as to how you may relate to these things, and start working on how to work them to your advantage. Even the disadvantages, even the things, the fear, the emotion, sometimes even the ego, fear, and greed, if we recognize them, we can respond differently to them. A lot of the things that we do in a day in trading and whatever comes from things that have happened to us before we can even remember. I'd like to kind of go over one of the things that was discovered, kind of a hidden memory. When I was a little kid, I used to go to the trading floor with my dad. You know, he was a trader. I'd go to work with daddy, right? Well, there was a person that I was not near my dad at this time, but there was a person that was extremely mean to me. He was, you know, for a 5 or 6 year old to notice that he was well dressed. That's how well dressed this guy was. He looked like he was made of money. And and at that time when he was mean to me, I thought, geez, man, if that's what being rich is like, then I don't want to be like him. Hence, I don't want to be rich. I don't want to make a lot of money. And it was the repression of that memory that became a stumbling block until I was able to rethink it and let it go. That's why you sometimes, when people think that money is dirty, it's something that they were taught when they were younger, or they think that anybody who makes a lot of money cheated to get it, is something that they learned a long time ago and that they've digested and doesn't come to mind when we're sitting here talking at cocktail parties. Get deep into what you're thinking about. There's something is a kind of called a trader's mindset. And this is something that I hope for all of you. Just going to run through it real quick. I think we're getting a little bit long-winded here. The root of all evil isn't money, it's people. Yeah, well, the trader's mindset, there is a sense of calmness. That sense of calmness, I'm sure, wavers just like everybody else. We're calm sometimes, we're not calm sometimes. We try and seek this trader's mindset by trying to remain calm, managing emotions, not denying emotions, ability to focus on the present reality. When we are under duress, this trader's mindset, the ability to focus on the present reality becomes blurry. Even with the inclusion of real risk, to be able to think clearly is a gift. You do not care about market direction. Having a bias, doesn't matter if the market goes up or down, we can profit either direction. Always looking to improve. Been in this for 39 years. I'm still working on improving. So many of you, I'm sure, are way smarter than I am. You can do this. Keeping an open mind. Stay humble, grateful, and creative in your trading. I say it every morning. Creative meaning keeping an open mind. Accept information that the market is handing to you. Figure out a way to make it work for you. Anger and venom are your enemy. They are going to take you away from your strategy, and you are going to struggle. I realize sometimes it's very difficult to let go of anger and venom. Sometimes it takes a little time. Be willing to forsake that little devil on your shoulder that's saying, yeah, but what if the next trade's the one? Don't do that. Let go of the anger and venom before you come back, because it's going to help you focus on the present reality. Learn from every trade. There's something to learn from every trade. No doubt about it. Win and losses treated emotionally equal. There's a challenge for you as part of the trader's mindset. If you're not enjoying the process of trading, it's going to be a long road. There are days that I absolutely enjoy the process. There are days that the process doesn't treat me very well, but it's all part of the process. Enjoy it. There's good days, bad days. If you don't enjoy the process, again, you're going to struggle. trade your strategy without the influence of others. This is very important, especially as a performance coach. The last thing I want to do is hand out fish. The last thing you want to do is have somebody hand you a fish. You want to know how to fish. I want to help you learn how to fish. Show me where the fish are. We'll find them and we'll catch them. But you don't need the influence of others. If you're listening to Kramer's the guy that told you to buy Bear Stearns 3 days before it ended. Nobody knows anything better than you do. If you put together a process and a strategy that's going to pay you over time, you will never be without fish. You don't feel the need to conquer the market. Kind of like Judge Smales. It's easy to grin when the ship pulls in and you've got the stock market beat. You don't have to conquer the market. There is abundance in the marketplace for you. You are going to feel confident and in control. That sounds like a nice time. No sense of forcing anything. You're not forcing yourself to do anything. So I tell people, hey, if you're looking for trades, you're probably going to find one, but that's forcing. Let the market tell you, let the market come to you. If you miss something, it's okay. You will never feel victimized by the marketplace. The marketplace is just what it is. It's not out to get you. And you are always going to be taking full responsibility for your trading. Even if you are taking fish from somebody else and you take that trade and it's a loss, well, it's your fault. You took the trade. Somebody else gives you another trade and it's a winner. I bet you're going to think it was your idea and you're a genius for taking it. Take full responsibility for your trading. What are we trading? Dr. Menaker says we're trading our inner market. All the beliefs and motivations in our inner market affect what we do in our outer market, what we're worth, what we're not. This hierarchy of decision making can help you stay in process and hopefully avoid damage. I just love this. I hope the doctor's not upset with me using it today, but he's got a way to look at the decisions that we make in trading, and you can judge them by the number. Whoops, I forgot to put a number on this one. The best trade you can take is a trade that's in process and is a winning trade. It has the least harm and reinforces good behavior. The second from the best trade you can make is a trade that's in process and not profitable. Always something to learn from every trade. The number 3 and 4 are out of process. The number 3 is out of process and not profitable. You don't get rewarded from trading outside your process. And of course, the most damaging one, number 4, is you trade out of process and it's profitable. Just because it's out of process doesn't mean it can't be profitable, but it's going to reinforce that behavior. The next time you are feeling like trading out of process, you're going to go, well, I did that last time and it worked. Start using these numbers and give yourself a grade at the end of every session, because a lot of what this is telling us is how we are doing in our own psychology. If you can stay in process, you're doing pretty well. But if you start to get upset and start getting out of process, start thinking about the reasons why. I'm going to finish today with a dad wisdom. That's my dad on the trading floor. He was charged with hedging Ralston Purina's needs for grain. This was when Czech cereals were a Ralston Purina product. They sent a bunch of checkmates down, and he was handing them out to his buddies on the trading floor. This picture actually has the at that time president of the Board of Trade standing there talking to my dad about these. He was a character, and he really had some great wisdoms, and this was one of the favorites. And the market always looks the best at the top and the worst at the bottom. We got some activity going on here in the equities, where it looks like we're maybe heading back towards the lows of the session. Is it going to look the worst there? Did it look great at the top? It always seems to. And that's part of psychology. It was him saying, when the market looks the worst at the bottom, it's the ones that can scoop up the cheap thing, the cheap buys at the bottom that are going to be the real ones that are going to be successful. For more information, of course, we have our market forecast, market recap, coach's playbook, Q&A with the founder. We've got funded trader interviews. We've got market therapy. We've got more and more content coming at you. We want you to succeed. Gentlemen, how do we do today? It's a long one.
Great. I know you like getting into trading psychology, so I'll just rip through a few questions here. We're also restarting the podcast. We're doing it live on YouTube at 3 today, and then it's in iTunes. It's called Limit Up. That's me and Dan talking usually.
I gotta get a thumbnail for it here.
Yeah, well, it was off for 6 months. It's back now. Anyway, let's get to it. We'll share. I just sent out a prompt to our traders at Topstep, and we're going to get the books together and put them in a doc for you next week. Let's do this. I saw Nico first. Yesterday I had decent gains, but it was a little short of my daily goal. I was supposed to stop and finish the day, but I know it's a great opportunity to enter. However, the trade didn't work out. How do you differentiate being greedy from taking advantage of the opportunity? I have something I could say about this right away.
Go ahead.
Well, people talk about how it's more than half psychology. And so this is a question that can only be answered by Nico. I think it comes down to, did you take the trade? There's I think a bad way and a good way here. So did you take the trade because you were a little short of your daily profit opportunity, or because it was a great trade opportunity? If it's a great trade opportunity, I would say always take it, as long as you have a objective way to look at it and know what your setups are. If it's a good trade, if there's positive expected value on it, asymmetric risk, take it. You could be above your daily profit. You can still take that trade. If it was just because, oh man, I'm $100 short here, let's let them fly, that's maybe not the best way to do it. So that would be my thing there. Quick practical. Constantine asks, and JD, maybe have opinions on this too. What's the best way to trade, as an LLC or under a personal name?
Well, you typically can't open a trading account under an LLC anymore. Isn't that correct? You could filter it through an LLC, but in order to open a brokerage account, you need to sign it yourself.
Does
that make sense to you?
Yeah. So look, we are not accountants as well. So take our tax and account things with a grain of salt, and definitely look towards it, look into it further. But I believe that JD is right there. As I mentioned with the books, we'll do that. Any recommendations on working with my relationship with money and improving self-esteem in the process of trading itself?
Self-esteem, I think, can't come from trading. You got to work on your self-esteem outside of trading. That's the way it was presented to me. If I believe that I'm a good person because I'm able to make a lot of money trading, if I lose a lot of money trading, I'm going to no longer think that I'm a good person. You should be thinking about your self-esteem outside of trading. So because we never want to attach our outcomes trading with who we are as people. And I'm sure you're a wonderful person. Sometimes it's a matter of getting a little bit of exercise or helping somebody else do something, being good to those around you. It's a difficult thing to try and help somebody improve their self-esteem without actually knowing them. But the way it was sent to me was, hey, you find the things that annoy you about yourself and you work on those. To me, it was, I was never in very good shape. So I got in shape and it made a big difference. And I went to help other people and it made a big difference. Just a couple of suggestions for you. Don't try and improve your self-esteem through trading. Improve your trading through self-esteem.
Yeah. And that was tough when I was trading at prop shops. You're on a lot of other people's P&L monitor and they can see exactly what you're doing. And because I was never someone to super, live outside my means or something, I didn't have crazy mortgages or car payments they had to pay or whatever like that. For me, it wasn't necessarily losing the money that would make me feel bad as much as a feeling of inadequacy or the fear of having other people look at you that you're a joker, right? Or just like not a serious trader or something like that. And that's hard to solve. You got to have that confidence. Ho, do you have any suggestions as how we might take our minds off the money and concentrate on our performance?
There's the obvious one is don't put your P&L on your screen. If you can't take your P&L off your screen, put a sticky note over it. But I think it's a practice like anything else. There were myself included. I mean, I had a clerk in the pit that would keep track of my position and keep track of the money and everything. And after I got done trying to reach a specific profit target every day, which turned into a disaster on a lot of days, I just told him, I don't want to know what I'm up. I just want to know when I'm down this much.
Yeah. And you should, on the floor, it was difficult as far as stops went. With the computer, you shouldn't be in fear that you're going to hit your stop. Or sorry, you shouldn't be in fear that you're going to break some sort of your P&L level if you're not looking at your P&L, because your stops should be set so that that's not an issue. So yeah, just take the mind off the money. One thing I wanted to add here before we answered the questions there is you'll notice that a lot of these trading psychology things bear a strong resemblance to poker or poker psychology. And when I was at Chopper and DRW, maybe 15 to 20% of the traders there were either former professional poker players or very, very high level poker players. And what's interesting, when we talk about the psychology being most of it beyond skill, is I think about if you look at one of those major poker tournaments, everyone who's at that level, every very, very good poker player understands pretty much the optimal strategy based on the cards that are in play. If you're playing Texas Hold'em, for instance, right? You know that what your chance of winning the hand is if you have X2 cards and X is on the table, right?
Always the probabilities.
Right. So that is the skill part. And then you get to the question, so how is it that these same people end up at the final table or end up going far if everyone knows the optimal strategy? And that's the psychology portion. That's the part that separates. Once you get good at trading and knowing everything, and you know your technical analysis and you're good at reading everything else, that is what makes the good traders. And why it's hard to teach. As I said, it's like that je ne sais quoi. It's that you're right. This should be efficient. Everyone knows what it is, but it's still psychology ruled. So that's what you got to focus on if you want to get to a high level.
I like that. Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah. Got to throw in those French phrases. I don't really know like a similar saying in English, but let me know out there if you have one. So
there you go. It's that certain something.
Yeah, that little something. One last question here because we're a little past time. Any suggestions for the guy jumping the gun at the Open? Thanks.
Have a plan for when it's a good idea to jump in at the Open. Is the market in balance in longer time frame, and are you right in the middle of the previous day's range? Probably not the best idea to be jumping in right in the Open. You're probably going to get a little choppiness there. But if the market's out of balance in longer time frame and out of balance in the short time frame, now you're looking at a better opportunity for a opening range trade or a trade early in the session that may end up being close to the best trade location of the day.
All right. I thank you for reminding me, DJ, because I did say I would answer his question, but now I remember it was good.
I've got it queued up right here.
Okay. What is it again?
So this is from DJ Hogue. After returning from a break from trading, do you have specific things that you do to get your trading mindset back in the game prior to trading?
Read a book. I've read Mind Over Markets, I don't know how many times, Markets and Profile, I don't know how many times. Get yourself back in the mindset, and ease yourself in. You know, if you're a 5-lot trader, start back with ones. And it's kind of, you know, you don't want to say it's like riding a bike, because every market is different. You may be gone for 6 months and the market may be completely different. Just be uh, patient with yourself, be patient getting back in, make sure you have an understanding of the market state and the context, and take your time.
All right. Once again, we'll share the list of books that we're recording here next week. I just have to compile that. I have the prompt out. So David, we'll get that to you guys next week. That's all the questions for now, Ho. Send us home.
All right. Thank you all very much. It was such a pleasure to have you all here today. Pay attention to your trading psychology. You know, questions, of course, for group coaching are always welcome there. But again, nobody knows everything. I certainly don't. Just sharing my experience, hopefully, is going to help you in your experience. So trade well the rest of the day. It looks like we've got the S&Ps just about ready to look at past regular trading hour low here. So careful out there. See you tomorrow morning for the market forecast. And again, trade well, accept what the market's telling you.
Yeah, and we'll be back with this class. This is the last class of this week. We'll be back Monday at 12:30. So get ready.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye.